You know, figuring out how teens are getting access to guns is one part of the issue, but why do they want them? There's a psychological aspect to this threat, along with the anxiety today's shooting brings to parents and, sadly, you know, some of our youngest New Mexicans. Spencer Schott looked into this for us. And Spencer, what is so appealing about guns to teens right now?
Well, Tessa, psychologists believe many teens see gun as the new and more lethal power move, especially because so many of their peers now have weapons too. There are now another 21 reminders of what happens when a gun gets in the wrong hands. We've seen the painful impacts here in New Mexico. Kids killed on or near their school campuses in Albuquerque just within the last year. And the suspects accused of pulling the trigger, also kids.
One of the problems is a gun is such a symbol of power in our society. And so by having a gun, that gives you this sense of power. And unfortunately, there are a lot of sort of, if you will, sort of storylines or tropes in our society where, you know, power makes right.
If not the illusion of power, it's perhaps the protection. Gun violence prevention advocates say kids think they need a weapon to defend themselves.
That is also a real situation, not in terms of mass shootings, but you know, kids bringing guns to parties, kids bringing guns everywhere they go because they think, quote unquote, it's going to make them safe.
Now, both CARROLL and VISCOLI say it's more important than ever for parents to talk to their kids about guns and be aware of what's happening in their circles.
My advice to them is to put down the gun. We all need to put down our firearms and stop using them to solve our personal disputes.
They say while the conversation is necessary, so is the way you approach it.
Children will reference you about, you know, how to respond to situations. So if you're calm and you're reassuring, they'll be calmer and they'll be reassured.
Now, CARROLL adds, when tragedies like this mass shooting happen, it's important to step away from the news and not to dwell on the bad, not only for your own mental health, but for your child's. Back to you, Tessa.
Yeah, and we as journalists encourage that with these situations. Spencer, thanks. The aftermath of this horrific situation is just beginnings, and we'll have all the developments from Texas and D.C., for that matter, on KOB.com when you're not joining us in our newscasts.